What's up, good people? This Isaiah. And as we look at the tape, we're talking about the good old jellyfish Eddie. What's her name? Nilya. Alright, you know what I'm saying? It's been a while since I've done one of these videos, by the way. So, it's my fault. You know what I mean? I've been busy with everything. It's quite literally everything. Anyway. So far, I haven't used her, obviously. The most I did was Stellar, use that. Oh man, I'm so glad they added this. You know what I mean? It makes completing seals much easier. All right. Or finishing a Stellar board. And then also, did I get the abilities? Yes, I did. Got all the abilities. Other than that, I gave her some XP gear, which I should probably save. If I haven't already. Looks like I did, no problem. So, let's talk about it real quick. You know what I'm saying? Go over some of her skills, you know what I'm saying? Let's see here. Oh yeah, that's right. And I'm liking the new look of what we see here for the skills and whatnot. Definitely liking that. Let's go to the ability page here. All right, Forager, Fists, MMA. What? What? MMA? Okay. I mean, well, for those that are currently playing the story, you will see she has this thing about just Suplex City. Poor Straw Boy, right? So I guess it makes sense, but I don't think I'm pretty sure we have no other character who fits that personality. You know what I mean? Hence why it's so funny to me. It's like, what the hell? MMA, okay. That's interesting. Oh, well, hold on. Other characters that fit? If we include like ninjas, people who like fight with their fist or whatever, or that's like their deal, then we actually do have other characters who may fit this personality. Trying to think who. Maybe Lingley. Or maybe a KOF fighter like Terry. Maybe the KOF fighters. Hold on. Let me check that real quick. Fists. Light. Sword by, well, there's Lingley. Let me see here. MMA. Go figure. Yeah, okay. Cool. So I guess wrestling, fighters, things like that. All right, cool. Let me see if I'm right about the KOF fighters, though. You know what I'm saying? Kula, probably not. Nope, never mind. I spoke too soon. Yep. Nice. Okay, cool. Yes, I don't have them all still awakened. I forget I probably got to fight a boss for my, Astral Archives and the boss at the end of the KOF deal. You know what I mean? Anyway. Back to skills. Probably not going to be using this first page just to show you what it is anyway. Appeal time. This would probably be a skill that you would actually use, believe it or not. Mainly for this would probably be like my second skill if I'm thinking about it, right? So applies the following. Affects the user, restore HP 30% and restore MP 30%. So it gives you some kind of like, okay, I can get MP back if you don't have someone like a Kumos, for example. And I mean, or like there's plenty of other characters that also do the same deal, but it's the first one that came to mind. But then we have here deploy crystalline, basically crystal zone. We can click on this, by the way, and it pretty much gives us more information on what this actually does. You know what I mean? Which is pretty cool. Handy when it comes to Aldo. All right, very handy when it comes to Aldo. Moving on, next page. What we got here? Impact drop. All right, probably won't use this skill to be honest with you. Let's see. Each enemy, crystal blunt attack, small, applies the following effects to target. Pain 3 turns. Okay, strength increase when enemy count is 2 or more. So basically more enemies. You know what I mean? Nothing, pretty self-explanatory. All right, but if you're up against a mob, you're probably going to use somebody else to do the mob clearing for you. You know what I mean? Granted, this can work against bosses, assuming it's like, I don't know, 2 or more? Maybe if like you're doing like the void weapons, you know what I mean? Like that one boss who forget the name. I forget the name. It's been so long. But there's a boss that, you know, when you beat the bigger one, it became smaller ones, and then you had to take out the smaller ones, right? More than one in that case. You know, it could be used for cases like that. Or say if there's a boss with like arms. Think Clark, right? When you have to fight Clark, you know, the last of his mythos, for example. No prime example. But you probably won't be using this skill at all, really. It just applies pain. And it's a small blunt attack, you know, so it's like, probably wouldn't touch it, to be honest with you. Cosmic Uppercut. All right, let's see here. Single enemy crystal blunt attack. When target has 4 or more buff types, strength increase 30 times. Jeez. 30 times to remove enemy buff. Okay. So you debuff the enemy. And when target has 4 or more buffs. So you hit them times 30 if they have 4 or more buffs. And then you remove all those buffs. Go. It's okay. Not bad. Probably not something I'm going to be using. Because why would you even let the boss? I mean, if you want that 30 times 30. Horizon Chop. Okay. Single enemy, crystal blunt attack. Okay, definitely will probably use this just based on the blunt attack on its own. Applies the following effects to user. Plus 50% power, int, speed, and crystal attack for 3 turns. For weak points, buff effect and turn duration increase times 2. So it's 100%. So this is definitely something that gets added to the skill lineup here. Simply because of what this does. This is a self buff. 100% for weak points, which you're definitely going to be in a weak point. And I'll explain why in a bit. Okay. Okay, kick 2. Crystal attack. Yep, this also may be one of them. Right, it gets thrown into. Actually, this might get thrown into the mix, believe it or not. Based on strength increase on weak point times 30. All right, so right away we're thinking that she may actually benefit from like a weak point badge to do more damage. You know what I mean? Considering she favors more weak points just based on this already. Weak point badge or Agrasta, really up to you. Okay. Let's see here. Drive Lariat. Why am I thinking about like the WWE? Who was it? JBL with his clothesline from hell. Anyway. Each enemy crystal blunt attack XL, not bad, applies the following. So singular focus, and for those that don't know what that does, you can just open that up. All right. Increase physical damage based on user's MP. So obviously the more MP, the better. Maximum effect is reached at 1563. So obviously she would favor having more MP in this case. And there's different things we can do to actually increase her MP, but obviously the more she has, the better. All right. And then, of course, when in weak point, applies the following effects over critical. Man, I don't like this ability on this whole over critical deal. And the primary reason why is because it doesn't seem to hit all the time. You know, it's pretty like RNG from experience that I've seen so far. But when it does hit, it's nice. But still, it's like, come on now, really. Let's see here. When on weak point, over critical, increase damage for weak point, or increase damage against weak points times 3. All right, and then we have the kick special here, which is basically the upgraded version of the previous one. So this is actually what you may actually end up using, not the other one, which is up here. It's only a times 30. Well, this one here is a times 60, so we'll want to go for that one, which is a times 60. All right, so based on what I mentioned so far, and again, I just unlocked the abilities. I didn't assign anything anywhere. All right. Based on this, just based on that alone, Drive Lariat. I'll go with that. That's the first skill. For this one here, that's the Stellar Burst ability. So we'll throw that there for now. Like I said, I'm not going to be using Impact Drop because there's other users who can inflict pain. But then also, as we can see, this doesn't ignore target resistance. So we're not going to be using this. Okay. So I'll probably go with either, Appeal Time, or, hold on. There may be another crystal user. So someone else who can set a crystal zone. So I'm not going to use Appeal Time. I'll probably go with, what was the other one? Horizon Chop. Actually, give ourselves a self buff. And then for this one, this is that special here, I was talking about earlier. All right, so those are the skills I'm going to roll with for now. All right, as far as everything else here, I guess we could pop inside of Stellar. Enhance ability. When learned, when using a learned skill before attack, grant flexible, so slash, pierce, blunt, or magic to the user depending on the target's weakness, and this is persistent. All right, and at end of turn, if the user can move, restore user statuses. So the way this reads, it reads as if depending on who you're attacking, this will change. You know what I mean? So basically, she's very flexible in what's happening. You can have an enemy weak, I guess weak to say slash, another one weak to blunt. I'm not sure where I would find these enemies, but let's just say we have them. Okay, she can change the attack type, whether it may be slash, it may be blunt, it may be magic, right? So tons of flexibility just on that alone. You know what I mean? So I'm all for it. Okay, all for it. And then I turn in if the user can move, restore statuses. So basically, if she's not, say, stunned, stoned, sleep, and things of that nature, then she would basically remove the statuses on her own. Right? Not bad. Okay. And then, of course, the stellar ability here. All right. On the surface, you would think it doesn't do a damn thing. Each enemy, crystal blunt. Again, remember, this changes. Right? So it may not be blunt. It may be magic. It may be slash. You never know. Right? Double XL times 30. Not bad. Pierce targets barriers. So she does barrier pierce, which is great. During stellar bursts, inflict exposed. And, of course, like I mentioned before, you could click on these now and see what this exposed mean. Okay, will not change if unit has immunity or absorb, which is rather unfortunate because there's a handful of bosses right now, new bosses that most likely are going to have this absorb deal or null. You know what I mean? Speaking of which, the new story, geez, man, there's so much to explore, man. And they brought in a little bit of everything. Now, I'm liking it, but damn, it's a lot going on here. All right, anyway. Inflict expose on all enemies based on user's attack type, 1 turn, based on user's attack type. So, again, if it's a mixed batch, right, and you're attacking one enemy that's weak to slash, then you get exposed to slash. And that's how that's reading. You know what I mean? After each enemy, okay, 30 times, again, still piercing the barrier. Not bad, right? And then this here is nothing major, shadow ally, so basically shadow team. Maybe a fist team as well. You know what I mean? So there's that here. Pretty self-explanatory, really. Okay. She's just in here by herself, kicking it with Nilya here. Auto skill. All enemy crystal magic attack. XL, physical resistance, magic resistance down 10%. When stack is charged to 5 or more. Okay. Nilya in the front row. And then she can use again. So basically an infinite lunatic. That's pretty much what I'm reading here. You know what I mean? Charge skill. I don't mind it. Granted, there's a lot of people who actually do this right now. Restore all allies HP 100%. Restore MP. Revive KO. Remember, there's a lot of people that do this. Hell, Tetra did it first. You know what I'm saying? We need something else out here. We need something else. You know what I'm saying? But then I guess from like a story perspective, it kind of makes sense. You know what I mean? Again, just based on the story I've done so far. I'm up to, I think, 121. I already got Aldo, another style. I just haven't finished the story. As soon as I got him, I'm like, all right, let me run around real quick and just check some things out. You know what I mean? So, not bad. As far as gear, like I said, right now she has XP gear, which is fine. But like I mentioned before, if she's obviously going to be a DPS unit, crystal DPS, so you can pair her up with, hell, damn near any other crystal user, right? So think, let's see, because they're probably going to throw like somebody. Let's see. Hold on, that's all light based. Okay, we'll go. Let's see Shadow here. All right, cool. So we have Alma, Lily. These are a given, right? These are obviously going to be in the party, you know. Clearly. Okay. But who the hell is this fourth member going to be? Let's go back to Shadow. No. Shinwa wouldn't make it. Venefica? This really wouldn't. Hold on. Let me see. This first skill here. All party members gain damage 60 if users attack after a target and type resistance 50. Remove. When grudge is 50 plus, remove all debuffs from party members. That can come in handy, actually. Links here. Let's see. I'm wondering why this didn't get, the update like everything else did. But I guess it makes sense. You know what I mean? Oh, wait. Of course it makes sense. They're going to be rolling this out to other characters, obviously. So, no biggie there. All right. Turn in Venefica. 99, 99, 99, 99. Okay. Not bad. Could also come in handy, right? Stone Thrust, I'm not entirely sure. Oh, that's right. I used her in a different team. I think in the last story update when we're fighting enemies or whatever, and I created like this counter end of turn attack based team. So makes sense. Let's see here. Shade type attack. Shade type piercing attack on all enemies. Type resistance 50%. Yeah, this does make sense. You know what I mean? Because again, we're gonna be hitting weak points, and she's basically providing us with the ability to keep doing that. Though I feel like I could probably use another crystal user. We'll throw in Venefica just because. Okay. Switch this order around here. That's typically what my order is going to be. Like this here. The sidekick, I actually wouldn't use Nilya in this case. I would actually use Moke. And then I'll throw... There we go. And then obviously have like your Grasta holders, you know what I mean? For again, whoever's going to be doing your damage. All right. But this is the team comp so far. Let me move these two skills around here. There we go. Brain record. Okay. Again, going back to weak points. Think Zilva, another style, and Alma in this case, right? Brain record. She can actually change her attack type as well. You know what I mean? So she can hit the weak point, depending on, again, what the user's doing. You know what I mean? So, hence why that skill's there. Right? So, Venefica, again, I'm not really there yet when it comes to Venefica. Just yet, you know what I mean? I gotta really think about it a bit more, like I said. And then Lily, obviously, Lily, Alma, Moke, they're pretty much going to be a given in almost any crystal team. All right. So not bad here. Again, gear, I actually wouldn't give her this. If the goal is to prioritize damage, then obviously the first piece of equipment is going to be the Elpis gloves. Next piece here, Drake Wreath. Let me see. That should be, yep, MP. Yep. All right. Right now, we're trying to increase the MP. She's at 898 right now. And for badges, we got options. Again, if the goal is to increase MP, then we'll go for something that increases MP. She's at 1048 right now, which is based on this light shadow MP badge here. And we can increase power. There's a weak point badge, but we can get that from across the, you know what I mean? We don't actually have to use this here, right? We can. I mean, there's no big deal. Ideally, I would go for a power increase, because she's only at 360. Grasta here, pretty self-explanatory. I can go for a fist. And the same old, you know, power of pain. Let's see, power of pain. Where is it? Power of... Oh, man, I may have to awaken some. There's Rose with Thorns. All right, power of pain. What's the other one? Power of pain. I don't remember. Is it last stand? Let me see. Yeah, we'll go for last stand. And then his last one, it could be anything, really. I have plenty of power of pains here, so I'll go with that one. Again, it doesn't really matter. Speaking of pain, right? You need to have a pain setter, which I am pretty damn sure. Let me see here. I don't remember. I may actually have to use that ability for a pain setter. Let's see real quick. Where's oh, she's in the party. Let me move over here because this quest is for her. You know what I mean? Let me move. You know, righty. There we go. Tomes. Let's see here. So we got a crystal zone here, but no pain here. Activates curses on all enemies. Well, we'll see what these curses do. Let's do this, and we'll activate Lunatics, as you all can see. Right, Lunatic. Okay. Based on target's weak point, flexible. Again, slash, piercing, blunt, or magic. Alright. So we'll activate the Lunatic, Brain Record. Links in Promised Land, actually. Yeah.
Wide open.
There's our pain. Alright. And now we get to see what some of these abilities are. I can pretty much rotate everybody out, but I'll keep Oma in here. For obvious reasons here. Didn't mean to do that, but whatever. Oh, strong lariat. Again, we're hitting weak points right now with both Alma and Rise and Chop. I'll just stick to these for now. Let me bring in this one here. And then this is this kick that I was talking about earlier. And we'll keep everything as is. So quite a bit of damage there. Let's see here, because this isn't really built for an AF like at all, as you guys can clearly tell. Not built for an AF at all. But I'm curious. Let's see. So somebody has overcritical, and as you can see, it's not consistent at all. You know what I mean? So decision to stick with just her using her stellar ability, or let everybody else use their stellar abilities as well. That is the question, and that is the answer. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, I'll stick with hers just to see what happens here.
Unleash the hexes.
So most of the damage came from her, obviously. So, not bad. You know what I mean? Definitely not bad. And so, my thoughts on her: does she need to be Stellar Awakened? Yes. There's no way around it. She does have to be Stellar Awakened. If you want to abuse this whole weak point deal she got going on, you know what I mean? Because she definitely do more damage than what I just showed in this video. Obviously, I wouldn't be surprised if people hit the new damage cap with her. You know what I mean? It should be possible, considering again she can switch the attack type. You know, so pretty good in my opinion. Flexibility here, probably one of the most flexible characters in regards to, like, again, those attack types and damages. You know what I mean? So imagine Fire Slash. It's like, okay, so we get someone who sets a zone for fire. All right. And she's already given the slash based on what she's attacking. Now we need to apply this fire deal. Okay, cool. How do we do that? Well, Nikoko, fire zone setter, and then Nikoko. And there you go. You know what I mean? So, pretty good, in my opinion. Like I said, crystal user, you don't really need to worry about setting the crystal zone because there's other users who can do that, clearly. In fact, I think Lily is our, I could be wrong, hold on. Maybe not. Alma is our zone setter in this case. All right. If I had another crystal user in the party, I wouldn't have to awaken the zone. You know what I mean? And Benefica doesn't fall under that. At least I don't think. Water and shade. So she doesn't fall into that mix. So obviously you would bring in, say, someone else who's a crystal user, right? So, not Alma. Let's go crystal. Eva may work. You know what I'm saying? Never know. Ooh. Uella would work too. Because then I could do something like that there. If she changes the attack type, would Uella also adapt to that new attack type? Let's find out. Because Uella, another style, that's, yes, I believe, right? She adapts to the character to her right. You know what I mean? So, right now, it's Crystal, and I believe that's Slash. I could be wrong. I don't know what the hell that symbol is. You know what I mean? It's not like I can tap on it and find out, right? Let me see if I can look at. Let's see. Nope, that's blunt. Never mind. So, blunt. Why do I think slash? Slash is going to be like a sword kind of deal. And then magic obviously looks like, you know, magic. All right, cool. So right now it's blunt, but if I were to change this based on this right here, so I don't remember what the hell he's weak to. And we're going to go this here. We already have an awakened zone. Let's see what happens here. And then I also wonder if the skill name changes. And what I mean by that is blunt. It still says blunt. Let me pop here and look at her here. Still blunt. So maybe is this enemy weak against blunt? Let's see. It actually maybe weak against blunt here. Let's try someone else. What would Galliard be weak against? Definitely not Slash. We'll keep everything the same because, again, I'm just curious about the whole deal. Granted, it's going to change, you know, like anyway, but there's only one enemy on the screen, so it shouldn't really matter. Let's see here. All right, that's not it. Let's see. Doesn't actually say. Interesting. Let's do.
Wide open.
You don't mind me. Unless he has no weaknesses. Figures. Alright. What's going on here? She got a weak point here. Wind? Okay. So, in this case, it's wind based. He may not actually be weak against attack types, just elementals. Or elements, I should say. Makes sense. Okay, cool. So, it's a key distinction there that it's, at least for her, it's going to be, I'd have to find, again, this is going to be a pain. I'm not going to go through every enemy in the archives just to find someone who isn't weak against, say, blunt attacks. You know what I mean? I'll do one more, and then I'll end this video. Let's see, weak against Pierce. Who would be weak against Pierce? Probably won't find it. Again, that's gonna require like testing forever. Let's see. So we're paying attention to, say, Alma in this case. Fire. Yeah, just fire. I'm probably not going to find anybody who's weak against certain attack types. You know what I mean? That's unfortunate. I was hoping I would. All right. Well, they said it's gonna require more testing, really, mainly to see if this is even possible. Where it's like, okay, enemies weak against this one thing. Here we go with Uella. All right, and then if it switches, it's I know a boss. Nope, that's based on elements. Never mind. The Octopath boss. That's element based. Never mind. But. You know, would it actually say if she switches, say the enemy's weak against Slash at the beginning? Okay, cool. Would that be given to Uella also? And then when it switches, say they're weak against Blunt. Okay, cool. Is that also given to Uella? That's the question I'm trying to answer here for those that are wondering. You know what I mean? So, anyway, not bad. All right, not bad at all. It's pretty flexible. Again, based on what I'm seeing here, this is just me thinking of ideas on ways to use her. Hence why I have a test team. You know what I mean? I just throw users in it to see different ideas. You know what I mean? So anyway, that's pretty much it for this video. Is she worth it? Well, I mean, if you need somebody with that kind of flexibility, then absolutely. You know what I mean? If you don't need anybody with that kind of flexibility, then nah, she's not needed. You know, she's not like mission critical, especially when it comes to like crystal teams. I mean, you have two of the most overpowered users in a crystal team on the team already. You know, Alma, another style, right? She's like top tier. She's above the tier list. Okay. Then Lily, who can help like buff everybody. You know what I mean? So, and if you want her, go for it. If you don't feel as if she's necessary, don't bother. You know what I mean? All right. So that's pretty much it for this one. I'm going to go ahead and get out of here, and I will talk to you all later.